Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Together, Jake and his friends interview talents varying from actors, directors, writers, producers, composers, puppeteers, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. I am one of your co-hosts, Matt Bingel, with my buddy, Marty Monster. Hello. Hi, Marty. Hi. And our co-hosts, it's all of us. Chris Bixby, Wyatt, McCullough, and Matthew Johnson, and our host, Jake Deffinbaugh. How y'all doing?
Really great.
Very good.
How are you two, Matt and Marty?
We're doing great.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
really
Who we
good.
got today, Matt and Marty?
Oh, boy. Yes, I in particular am super excited about this
Same.
one.
We all are.
For those of you who grew up a long time ago, you may remember her as Eureka in Eureka's Castle. For those like us who grew up in the early 2000s, you may know her as Frederica, Fred for short, on Blues Room, among many, many others. Please welcome the amazingly talented Cheryl Blaylock. Cheryl, happy to have you here. Welcome.
Hi.
Happy.
Oh my God. I don't know anything about you all. So I'm so curious. Can we just talk about that before we start? About who you are?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
Talk to me.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start. I've been in the podcasting game for a couple of years. I was on a podcast a while ago called the DJ Bob Show, and now I'm a part of this podcast, and it's my time on the DJ Bob Show, we did pretty much just about the same thing as what we do here. We interview people mostly from the past and talk about their work from over the years, and I, of course, grew up watching things like Sesame Street and Between the Lions, Bear in the Big Blue House, all those puppetry shows, and reruns of Eureka's Castle when I was very little.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And of course, Blues Room.
Yeah.
Blues Room. Oh, yeah. Blues Room.
I started as a podcast host last year. It feels crazy. And been a fan of puppetry all my life, and here I am.
Yeah.
All right, who's going next?
How do
Matthew,
you
you
know
go.
each other? How did you?
I'm going.
Me and Matthew knew each other first. Me and Matthew knew
Very,
each other
very long
first.
time.
Yes.
Yep.
About like what, 9 years?
Probably 9 or 10 years.
Yeah,
That's
and
how
then
long.
I met Wyatt and Jake, and then Matt, and of course Marty.
I met them last year.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not even been a year yet, I don't think.
You want me to start off? Sure, go for it. Okay, cool. We know who you are, and I'm sure there are folks who know who you are. But for those who don't, would you care to introduce yourself?
My name is Cheryl Blaylock,
There you go.
and I'm from Kalamazoo.
Uh,
No, what do you want to know? I moved to New York from Kalamazoo, intending to be a fashion designer. That was my first ambition.
Oh.
And it kind of evolved. I kept meeting actors, and it evolved into costume design. And so I worked for a children's theater company called the Merry Mini Players. And one of the people who used to come in on Saturday to help me, because it was all children, so every Saturday we would have shows, and I would be there dressing the kids in the costumes that I designed and made for them. And volunteers would come in and help me get the kids ready in hair and makeup and costume. And one of those people was Kathy Rosenthal. Did I get her last name right? I think because her name is Kathy Churro now. And she was working for Sesame Street as a PA. And so she made the introduction. Luckily, Henson was hiring people at that time. This was like the last season of Muppet Show and season 10 of Sesame Street.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I was hired for Sesame Street to design and build costumes for Sesame Street. And it was a challenge at the time because I was in the middle of production with this children's theater company, but I had to say yes to both of them. So I worked day and night. I worked days at Muppets and night getting these costumes done for this children's theater company. And then when I was finished with that project, at least I could concentrate. But my whole time at Muppets in the workshop was just finding opportunities and trying to meet those opportunities, and not really having a really strong background in puppetry or, some people come from University of Connecticut with a degree in puppetry. And my background was clothes, fashion, and all the props and things that I was making, the mask work and stuff that I was doing for the children's theater company. So, and then, when Jim Henson asked me if I knew any women puppeteers, I was like, me? How about me? Have you ever puppeteered before? No. So it was a very steep uphill climb, and I was always asking questions and things like, so how long does it take to get really comfortable with the monitor, moving around with the monitor, because it's not a mirror image,
Right.
And the answer would be like, oh, about a year or so. I'm like, I don't have that kind of time. And I was working full time in the workshop, and I mean, Marty Robinson started at the same time.
Amazing.
He had a lot more background than I did with puppetry, and I still have the memo of Jim. I should find that somewhere. Jim Henson sent around a memo saying that Cheryl Blaylock and Marty Robinson were our new puppeteers, and they're going to be rehearsing in the first floor all-purpose room that we had on the first floor of the mansion on 69th Street. And they set up this monitor time for me and Marty to get comfortable with the monitor. And at that time, they didn't have the mirror image. When I went to California to puppeteer, most of the puppeteers in California were using the mirror image monitors. And I was like, what's wrong with your monitors? They were like, oh, it's mirror. Isn't it easier? And I'm like, not that I'm like, my brain is fried. So, it really is. Television puppetry is a peculiar, unique art form that it doesn't compare to anything, and it compares to a lot of things. There's many different art forms that you can use going into it. Like I was studying mime at that time, so all the principles of mime, just the wrist leads, and those kind of principles of the technique of mime, that definitely played over, and that I would recommend to any beginner puppeteer to take every mime experience that you can find, because that all transfers up your arm and out your hand. And I think I read somewhere, somebody gave me an email that somebody was offering a mime workshop coming up pretty soon. So I would recommend that. Let me see if I can find it while we're talking. But anyway, that was kind of the beginning and the genesis into puppetry.
Nice.
And because they were looking for women puppeteers, and I'm so glad to hear finally after 52 years, it took them to find a Black female puppeteer.
Yes, that's right.
That's right. Yes.
That's
amazing.
And there were very few women puppeteers at the time that I started. So hence we were kind of, thrown in.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're a man and you come into it, you got to spend a year or two doing butterflies coming through, or right hands, or background characters. And we were thrown. So I think I can say, and with Eureka too, that characters have evolved a lot with the feminist movement. Female characters, women characters. I mean, I just saw The Woman King last night, and
oh, nice.
you know, I mean, just we are now in positions of creating things for ourselves that are our voices and do represent us, and are not like, you know, when we started with Eureka's Castle, I was like, please, I just want to make her own. She's on her own journey. She's not someone's mother or someone's caretaker. I mean, it's hard to break out of those roles. But every time they would come around where, you know, Eureka was really the caretaker, or she was the mom figure, I was like, she's got struggles of her own. She's trying to be a wizard, you know? She grew up in a wizard family. And you know, where are her parents? She lost them. There's got to be some sadness here, you know. So I tried to, you know, make her a full-rounded character, and I really kind of bristled at some of the times when she was, you know, made to play those maternal roles. It was just kind of, I want to, but I don't, but so how, what was your, I mean, mostly what, and the research that they had going on at that time was that little boys wanted to watch boy characters, girls would watch girl characters and boy characters, but boys didn't watch girl characters. And they did find that when they asked boys, their favorite characters of the show, of course, was Magellan and Batley. And I'm glad to hear that that's changing.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
In fact, Noel McNeil, who played my Magellan,
Right.
his son, I remember him saying his son said that he really loved this superhero girl character, and he just really didn't see any difference at all between the male or female characters. She was the superhero to him, and that was it. It's a big deal, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
Glad
Yeah.
it really has evolved since that time, and I'm glad the work has paid off.
Definitely.
There you go.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, can you talk a bit about your background and how you grew up?
Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Kalamazoo is a lovely little town halfway between Detroit and Chicago.
Nice.
And,
Yeah.
it was voted the All-America City one year. It's the school that I went to was in the suburbs. The downtown Kalamazoo had more diversity, but my area was pretty white, and we had like a token of each ethnic group in our school. And so I'm really much more comfortable in New York. I don't know, I just like that ethnic mix, you know.
Yeah.
And so Kalamazoo, I had my most influential person in Kalamazoo was my art teacher, and he was also an actor. He was a wonderful actor. He would do summer theater. He played Don Quixote. He played all these great.
It's a great show.
Amazing show.
Yeah, he was, and he was kind of a beatnik kind of character, and he really rebelled against the kind of the school things. Like he would come in with his own formulas for paints and clays, and he brought his own equipment, and he trained us on, you know, the wheels, you know, to make pottery and stuff. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. And the best thing was that he let us grade ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I was like, what? What? It was a revelation to me to judge my own work. And he said, you know, so do you dare give yourself an A? Does any artist dare to give themselves an A? So that was really, it was such a gift that he gave to us all. and part of an artist's journey. To know that. I wasn't very active in the drama department. Every time I auditioned for something, I didn't get it. So I was more active in the arts, in the art class, in making stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I had one great moment in high school where I ran for the Portuguese Junior Miss contest, and I did the roller skate rag from Funny Girl.
Oh, wow.
It was my moment to shine because I was a roller skater, and I nearly rolled right off the stage.
Oh, that's
Oh boy.
The thing where you did this thing with and I went, "Ew," and the whole audience went,
Oh boy. Oh man.
but it worked.
Oh, good. That's good.
That's awesome.
And
That's good, at least.
that was a really memorable moment, and especially my other mentor, which was my boyfriend's mother, who taught me so many things. And she came right up to me and she said, "You were the most talented girl in the whole contest and you should have won." It meant the world to me because I really looked up to her. She was a really great mentor and someone, a very respected woman.
Oh.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just between the bridge between Kalamazoo and New York was my sister, who's 5 years older than me, also had great ambitions. Her ambition was to be an actress, and mine was to be a fashion designer. And so she moved to New York 4 years before I did. Didn't know a soul, and got herself in acting classes and made a living as a hairdresser. And then eventually over the years, I became the actress and she became a designer. It's we did a little flipperoo. But she was my inspiration. I knew that I needed to go to a little journey on my own. I didn't want to come directly to New York. So I chose a school in Atlanta, Georgia, the Art Institute of Atlanta, and I chose them because they had a summer course in London, and that was it. I was going to London, so I went to Atlanta, London, and then back to Atlanta, and then New York.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
that's awesome.
I was 19.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
That's awesome. I forgot to mention, but since you actually mentioned Martin P. Robinson and Noel, we previously had Martin on.
Yeah, we did.
Martin
Robinson.
P. Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
What did he show you? Did he show you any puppets?
He did have
he did.
Yeah,
once,
I think
and
he did.
He
Yeah.
had one.
Yeah.
He had one.
Probably
Can't
is.
remember his name.
The plant. Audrey.
Well, yeah, Audrey, but there was one other one he brought up.
Yeah.
It's not in the final cut unless you slow it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what got you into puppeteering?
I think it was just an evolution from making puppets to performing. I was just looking for more and more creativity, and it became the performing arts instead of the art arts. So while I was in the workshop, I was taking acting classes in mime and dance. And then a casting director came into one of my acting classes and brought me in for a commercial audition, and I booked it. And so then I was trying to get better as a puppeteer and going out to and taking time off from the workshop to go out to auditions and come back working into the evening to finish my puppet building work, and trying to do it all. And then because of the character voices for the puppetry, then they were sending me for voiceover as well, and I was booking a few things there. So I eventually decided I really enjoyed acting without puppets more, So I made the fateful decision of telling them I wasn't available on Sesame Street, and then I was pursuing acting more, and then Eureka's Castle came up, and I thought, oh, this sounds like a great show. I should do it, So I auditioned and I got Eureka.
Yep.
Yep. Someone asked me recently where the puppet was, and I was like, "Oh, she's probably toast
Oh yeah.
somewhere. If she exists at all."
After over 30 years, I'm sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's
I
been
have
like 30 years.
a doll. I have a doll for Eureka here somewhere.
Oh.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh my God!
Wow, that's awesome.
And you press her belly.
A birthday.
That's awesome.
Oh. Wow.
That's so adorable.
That's amazing.
And so I've just been kind of splitting the difference between acting and voiceover and puppeteering. And then I did that foray into environmental science and just kind of put them all together. Ms. Cherry's library was also out of that because I had another puppet that I had gotten many years ago at a ventriloquist convention when I was with my boyfriend Ron Lucas. Do you know Ron Lucas?
No.
Ventriloquist in the 80s. So I went to a ventriloquist convention with them. Ooh, those are really interesting. Those ventriloquists. And there was a lady selling puppets, and so of all the puppets that I've built, I've never made one for myself. So I had this one, and she's a little old lady, and so I said, well, and when I started doing the work with an organization called Trees New York, and so I said, well, I have this little puppet. She's a little old lady. Maybe we can call her Mrs. Crabapple. She hates trees. And the kids have to talk her into liking trees. So they have to name off all the benefits of trees. It'll be a little tree lesson. So she became my sort of sidekick with all my work with Trees New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day coming home, I stopped for coffee and I left her in the coffee shop. And by the time I remembered, I went back and she was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost Mrs. Crabapple, but I wanted her to be rebuilt. She was getting old enough that I wanted to build a new one, but before I could have that done, James Woytall, do you know of him? He's really great.
Yeah, I've heard of the name.
Yeah.
In the middle of trying to, I was about to hire him to do that. And so then it just kind of evolved. I started doing some little paper bag puppets, and I slapped some stuff on this paper bag puppet, and one of those happened to be from a cherry tree called a Queen Anne cherry. And I asked the kids some questions, and they said, "What's your name?" And I was like, I don't know. I guess Queen Anne Cherry. That's my name, Queen Anne Cherry. Like this because it's paper bags. You do like that, like this is This was a little quickie I did for another little FaceTime call with a friend's daughter. It was her birthday.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Very cool, right? So, so you just go like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Miss Cherry kind of became a character, Queen Anne Cherry, the librarian of the forest.
Yeah.
And so I said to James, how about let's create a whole new character, a whole new puppet. So we did. She's very large, though. Very large. Very big book.
There she is.
Oh,
wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Very, very cool.
It is. I never know where to look on this thing. Oh, there's one. Why the monkey in the middle? There's
wow.
into her here.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
That's better. Now I have neck. All right. You talk swell, boys. Yes. All right. Anyway, There we are.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
Yep.
Gotten
Yes.
back to my library in a long time. Let me go look for a book, okay?
All right.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Who were some of your inspirations?
Inspirations. I have to say, Tony Collette,
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Carol Burnett, Lucille Ball, of course. Who am I thinking of? The English actress who does Tracy Ullman. Tracy Ullman.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Inspiration. I guess I most admire people who have a wide range of characters.
Yeah.
Who Jerry Nelson.
Yes.
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 He was
12
just
years,
awesome.
10 years.
Yes.
I
Almost
mean,
10 years since we lost him, too.
Yeah.
it has been, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Jim, Frank, Jerry, and Richard were my Fab Four.
Huh.
That's,
Uh,
that's
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome.
I mean, I just feel, I mean, looking back, it was just incredible that I came into working with them at the time that I did, you know,
Mhm.
because you know it was just, you know, still the seasons I worked on Sesame Street were season 10 through 15.
nice.
Oh, nice.
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 And Jerry was just like, what don't you have in that bag of tricks?
Uh,
And he sang so beautifully too, and he was
Oh,
just
yeah.
an all around.
Go above
His
Fraggle
range was
Rock and
incredible.
Yeah.
so many things
Yeah.
has
His
changed.
range was
Came out
absolutely-
to I was in LA. I used to go back and forth between New York and LA a few months at a time, and I happened to be in LA, and he called and asked me if I wanted to go to the Grammys with him, and I was like,
Oh,
what?
wow.
Okay.
Oh
wow.
my gosh!
He
Wow,
was-
that's awesome.
He had come out to host with John Denver,
Oh.
to do Floyd, I think, and to do a little bit on the Emmys. So it's the only actual Emmy ceremonies that I was actually sitting in on, and it was really great.
All right,
In
8 point.
1982, you performed and built your own character on Sesame Street, Mona. How did that come about?
Mona Monster.
Yeah.
Monster, yes.
Okay, Mona was a live action character, a full body character, that was made for one of the shows. And as Jim and Michael Frith, who designed it, as they were walking through the workshop, just approving of everything, Jim really liked that full body character. So he said, let's make a puppet character of it for Sesame Street. And I was
Yeah.
like, and I didn't know he could do that. You know, I thought the characters came from the writers. Can Jim say, yeah, let's make this character and put her on Sesame Street? So I'm not sure how, you know, how that all evolved, but that's what happened. So I was tasked with the task of making the puppet, and at the same time, they were developing Fraggle Rock.
Hmm.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was at that. I was, that was all at that same period of time. And I was, you know, learning enough by that time that, you know, am I going to get assigned a regular character?
Yeah.
Because I had done, you know, Forgetful Jones's cousin.
Yeah, you did.
Honkers, a Grouch, you know, a bunch of characters. So I auditioned for Fraggle Rock, and as far as I knew, I think this is how it went. I mean, they just told me to go up and put an audition on tape in a studio that was, you know, there in the workshop. So I did that, and then I knew that Karen Prowl and Kathy Mullen had auditioned,
Yeah.
and that's all I knew. I don't know if anybody else really auditioned for Red and Moki. And then, because I kind of bridged both worlds, I was assigned to a trip to London. We were doing some commercials for Polaroid. So I went over to do the commercial to wrangle for that, and Jim was mid-decision about who was going to play what, right? So he was casting Fraggle Rock and Mona on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
So so he told me that he was going to be casting for Fraggle Rock Kathy and Karen.
Nice.
It was like, you could have chosen not to tell me on the set because I'm about to cry. Really my composure. And then he went on to tell me how wonderful Karen was, and I was like, "Oh, stop!
Yeah.
Please, I'm begging you." And then a little bit later on, he said, "Oh, by the way, you're going to be doing Mona."
Yes.
And I said, "Well, thank you very much."
Yeah.
You could have started with that. Yeah, but I was really, really thrilled. And it was a time when, I mean, Karen had just been on Sesame Street the year before, and they had brought her in, again, because there was so few women puppeteers, anybody who showed talent was given the red carpet. So Karen came in, and they created a character, Dina Monster, for her. And at that time, they thought all the monsters were obsessed about something. That was sort of the writer's way of thinking about monsters.
Wow.
So Grover Monster is obsessed about, Cookie Monster's obsessed about cookies. Okay. And I'm like, so Dina Monster was obsessed about playing. Okay. And I'm like, okay, playing, but won't that get kind of annoying? She goes, play all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we'll go for it. And Karen, she did some really wonderful work. The character, and Mona was strapped, I think, with the same thinking that she had to be obsessed. She was a monster. She had to be obsessed about something. Okay, her obsession was about make-believe. And again, I was like, okay, I hope this isn't going to get annoying,
Yeah.
as they become dismissible characters, where especially the cast members just kind of go, okay, and they walk, right?
Yeah.
So that, that's kind of the trajectory of how that went down.
That's awesome.
Mona was obsessed about imagining things, so she was thought of as crazy.
There you go.
It was a hard challenge to try to break out of that, and then eventually and I had some ideas, and I submitted my ideas, but they didn't go anywhere, and such is the story.
Yeah.
Such life, it happens, right?
Do you have a favorite Sesame Street project that you've worked on?
Favorite that I've worked on?
Yeah.
Yes, so many.
Sesame Street, yeah.
Let's see, there was Sesame Street. I thought this was very clever. Little Muppet Monsters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was very
Nice.
clever. And Kathy Mullen wrote the hell out of that thing. I thought it was very clever, and it really deserved to have more development.
Oh yeah.
And it was really nice camaraderie between all the puppeteers and the puppets, and it's kind of widening out the the world of the Muppets. I thought it was a really nice next step. And, I think it even deserves a relook with all of the revamping that they're doing and all the exploration of the idea. Little Muppet Monsters was kind of fun to have them in a boarding house and making their own shows and stuff. I thought it had a lot of potential.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
You have a favorite segment, don't you? I do, from the Sesame Street era. It was one. When did it air, Marty? Remind me. 1982, and it was one of the Sesame Street news flashes that Mona was in when it was a rainy day. Ah, yes, with Kermit and Telly, and early Telly.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes, where I was trying to get Kermit to be a bunny and play with me. Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah.
That was fun. I really enjoyed that one. Yeah. C'est la vie. Yeah. The first one too. The first one I ever did with Mona was the one where she's pretending to be a bird. She's pretending to be a tree. And I thought how ironic that later on, quite a few years later, I went on to work with trees. I'm pretending to be a tree, and birds are going to come and perch on me. And it was Ernie and Bert, and Frank. And Ernie thought it was a great idea, so he put his arms up too. And then little birds came around. And then Bert said, okay. Did you see this one? I might have it on my YouTube page.
I think I've seen a lot of the Ernie and Bert sketches, so there's a chance I probably have.
And so Bert says, okay, I'll try. And he puts his bird, and okay, birdies. And then this giant bird comes and perches on his head. Marty did the bird.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
That's really awesome.
That was the very first one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really awesome. So it's been 6 months since we lost Emilio Delgado, who played the role of Luis on Sesame Street. Do you have any stories you can share from working with him?
Most of my memories are with Emilio, just hanging around on the set.
Yeah.
And whenever I saw him anywhere, he was just one of those people that made you feel like you were the only important thing in the room. And he always
you were the most welcome.
He always remembered names, and just was a really magnanimous, he really stepped into that. And he played Don Quixote too. And I would have loved to have seen that performance. I bet he was great in that.
Yeah.
I did go to his memorial. It was really lovely. And there was a mariachi band and everything. It was just.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They broke the mold. He was really special.
Yes, definitely. So now we've talked a bit about this in the beginning, but of course, one of your first major roles was Eureka on Eureka's Castle. What was it like working on that?
Really special and really, really challenging to see the whole kind of new medium. The show evolved from the first season. I think we had like music guests. So there was like little segments, and they shot it in pods, they called them.
Yeah.
And then the second year, I think, they were going from test groups with kids. They wanted to have a little bit more of something at the beginning to introduce kids, sort of like in a talk show where you say everything that's coming up at the beginning of the show so you don't lose your audience. So we did a few intros like that, and then we were talking directly to the camera, which I was a little uncomfortable with. I was like, "Are you sure this is working? I mean, I should just talk." It was challenging. The puppet was very heavy, and so I didn't end up doing like a lot of outtakes. So we lost somebody.
Oh no, I think Matthew just turned his webcam
Yeah,
off
he
for a
turned off his
second.
face cam.
Okay. So what was I saying?
You never want outtakes.
I didn't do a lot of outtakes because I had to put the puppet down because I would get cramps. The puppet was really heavy and I was in her a lot, and so you know, I had to baby my arm a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you still do Eureka's voice?
Oh, well, I usually ask kids to close their eyes for this so they can.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Why not?
You have to close your eyes. Okay. My name is Eureka. I'm an almost wizard, which means that I'm a wizard, but quite. I'd love to take a lizard in the middle of a blizzard, make him be a bunny rabbit in the summer sunlight. My tricks don't always work, but I never sweat it. Me weep or moan or sweat it. Forget it. It's just too much to do, and I know I'll be okay because I know that it's true. Every wizard has her day.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm
That
one
was
with your
actually
Eureka.
really awesome.
You can
All
open
right.
your eyes now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to think Batley is still around because I know that Jim
You all
Karupa
close
has.
your
Hey,
eyes.
really?
So sweet.
Yeah, Jim Karupa was on Puppeteer, so you could see he showed Bat.
Yeah, he still has Batley. He's still
Is he
in good
really?
shape.
Yeah.
I should ask him about Eureka, where she is, if she's toast or not.
Yeah.
Her fans want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of them are. I mean, I'd imagine after over 30 years of the show
Yeah.
being,
Yeah.
yeah, I would imagine a lot of them are probably toast.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
how many Muppet puppets are there? You know, I
Yeah.
built for one of the movies. I built 6 Kermits.
Wow.
What
Wow.
movie was this?
Oh
Do
my
you know what movie it
gosh.
was?
It's just for that movie.
Do you remember what movie it was?
That one was Muppets Take Manhattan.
Oh,
Nice.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful movie.
Wow, that's awesome.
And
So-
I trimmed I remember I was trimming the fingers and I trimmed them a little too closely and I had to start over. But I did innovate the seam that goes around his face, his head. I innovated the seam to make it look seamless.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
very, very nice.
You know the secret?
Wow.
It's interlocking pinking shears. I cut it with pinking shears and then I hand stitched interlocking.
Nice.
Wow.
I think they have better fleece now, so it's easier to do.
Yeah.
All
Wow.
right.
I was
That's
very
awesome.
proud. When I saw him on the big screen in full color, I was like, there's no seam, and I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have a favorite episode from Eureka's Castle?
A favorite episode from you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode or special? We'll go with that.
If you
Yeah,
if
they're all
you can't
special.
remember any episode names, that's fine.
I think
You know
they're
what
just
comes to
generic
mind is
episodes, 1, 2,
there's an episode that I wrote that we never got to shoot.
Oh, wow.
That was your favorite
I wrote
episode.
4 episodes. I wrote this episode where Eureka has a cousin, and she's coming to the castle. She's visiting, from far away. Her cousin, and her cousin is like so awesome. She was so nervous because her cousin was coming, and her oh my God, she was just beside herself. And her cousin is like really cool. So we were gonna do, the Eureka puppet dressed a little differently, like her cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really love the idea of doing the 2 characters, and that Eureka had this arc of being, really insecure about it, and then she finds out that her cousin does an experiment, and she messed up on the experiment, and Eureka solved it for her. So it gave her this great confidence, and it wasn't maternal.
Yeah.
Just 2
Yeah.
girls, right?
Gosh.
But we never got to shoot that episode. It's funny what comes to mind, because I had it so envisioned in my mind when I wrote it. But we did some fun stuff, singing to Magellan, like all the lullabies were very sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I know there's a handful. I know there's a handful of the episodes streaming on Paramount Plus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's just
Yeah.
from the last season.
Oh, okay.
But we did, what my favorites were the specials that we did. We did a special with Luther Vandross.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is where this came
Wow.
from.
Yes. We were just.
Luther Vandross on that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I just want
Wow.
to say that is the phone from the episode.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's so weird that the show has only the last season and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did
it's better than nothing,
with
though.
that one, and then we did a Christmas special, and we did
Yes.
Love the Christmas special.
Halloween special was really fun too.
Oh, the Halloween one's really good. We gotta watch it this year. We will. I think we did
Yes.
last year. We'll watch it this year. Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
awesome.
So that answers your question. Yeah, those were my favorite moments. The
Yeah.
specials that we did.
Yeah.
Because we did those in Florida at the new Nickelodeon studios.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was interesting. They would have people come by in this little they would have this like little tube at the top of the studio where they would bring people through.
Ah,
It's like, those bubble machines where they have like that long thing of water and it goes like this and
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like one of those tubes that these groups used to come in, and then they would have a fake stage manager who would talk to them and talk. And we had our own stage manager, which they had, they pretended they were the stage manager and maybe they could interrupt us. So, we would kind of keep our eye out, and if the moment was right and we had a moment, we would talk to the crowd. And my most memorable there was a little girl who was a fan, and she was like, I want to Eureka. She went nuts, and then they gave her
Oh my gosh.
I love you, Eureka. Come down here.
Oh, that's sweet. That's amazing.
That's sweet.
That's
Amazing.
wholesome.
But other than that, we
Very
never
wholesome.
knew our audience. I mean, we would get fan mail, and I was like, "Oh, they're really watching." You don't know when you're working on television what the impact is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, really sweet.
In
Oh, yeah.
1990, Eureka's Castle moved from New York to Universal Studios Orlando for filming. What was that transition like?
So we went from New York to
Orlando,
Yeah.
Universal
Yeah.
Studios.
New York to Nickelodeon Studios.
Well, yeah. Well, Universal was just newly open, so it was kind of exciting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Noel is a
Wow.
big fan of Disneyland. He's
Oh,
always
nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yes,
Right.
he is.
huge Disneyland fan. I'm not much for theme parks, but he was really excited, try all the rides and everything, so, it was nice to be there sort of on the ground floor, to be one of the first productions in the studio. And then, we went on the King Kong thing. So the rides were really fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it was hot though, and it was freezing cold in the studios. And then you go outside and it's boiling hot.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's something to try not to catch a cold in the freezing cold studio, and then you go outside and just burn up. So that was fun to just kind of be on location, and I rented a convertible so I could drive around in a convertible. I keep knocking this thing, sorry.
Hey.
Had to have a convertible. And let's see, Nickelodeon. Then we did take some time to get to know Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Then there was actually I got called a couple times to do a voiceover for a commercial or something. My agent was still working for me, so all I had to do was go over to one of the recording studios and within Nickelodeon and record it for him. So that was kind of handy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It was interesting to kind of understand some of the union stuff that was going on there because it was a free to work state, which meant different things for the union people. And so, there was lots of, crew talk about how this was all going to work out between, at that time, was Orlando really going to become the third place that was going to be a really big alternative to Hollywood, because that was kind of the vision to really turn it into that. But I think the laws of the state of Florida did not make it as viable as they were hoping. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was the beginning of that whole time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
90 something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
We had brought up the Luther Vandross special, Don't Touch the Box. What was that like working with Luther Vandross?
He was the coolest. Super solid pro, and really let us, really played within our world as well.
Yeah.
Someone from a completely different world. And it's funny, his weight fluctuated, like really, his weight went up and down, up and down. So they built this beautiful coat for him, and they didn't really know, if his measurements were going to be the same when he finally got to the studio. Luckily it fit. It was great.
Oh, good.
And he was just a super solid pro, and taught us a lot.
It's wonderful.
That's really nice.
I didn't get to sing with him in the studio, that would have been nice.
Separately.
Yeah.
But it was a real coup to get him as our guest star. So,
Yeah.
So, now you also got to work on The Adventures of Timmy the Tooth as Bubbles. How did that come about?
Oh, and I may have mentioned this. We've had Kevin Carlson on the show.
Yes.
Who worked on that show too.
I didn't get a chance to listen to that yet.
Okay.
But I will.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. I got the gang back together when I was visiting. I was up in 2019.
That's
Nice.
right. That's right.
Yeah, you guys
right.
had a reunion. Yeah.
Under the
bit of a reunion.
Yes.
Yeah, Grant Pachoco.
Good friend,
Grant Pachoco, yes.
Yeah, good friend of Matt's.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, I happened to be in LA, and I was pursuing pilot season, and that came up. What also came up at the same time, the same week was shooting, was the Murphy Brown show. Remember Murphy Brown with Candice Bergen?
Not really.
At that same time, they had a puppet called, it was a little bear puppet, and they were casting that, and I got it. And
wow.
I had to turn it down because I was already committed to Timmy the Tooth.
Oh.
So I was like, I missed my opportunity to work with Candice Bergen. Timing.
Yeah.
The Murphy Brown bear. Yeah. So Timmy the Tooth. Yeah, Bubbles Gum. And I also had another character on that show. She was I did my little holiday character for her.
It was B.
It was D.
Yeah. So that was so much fun, and the puppets, the eyes were remote control.
That's very cool.
Another person just doing these little subtle blinks. It's fantastic. And Christine Papalexis was my blinker, and she was super dupe.
Nice.
There you go.
Wow. Yeah. So, can you still do Bubbles' voice? Okay. All right. All right, everyone.
Another voice.
Eyes closed again.
Do we have to close our eyes
It's
again?
closed.
Oh, gee, I don't have a thing for her.
Or close our eyes. You can still do the
Okay, here we
music.
go. A fish in the sea, a bird in the sky. One swims deep and the other flies high. Both very good at what they do, and in one special way, they're just like you. You were one of a kind. Da 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 da. Forgot the words.
There you go.
Oh, that's nice.
That's awesome.
All right, Jake, you can open your eyes now.
Yeah, you
Oh
can
wait,
open
just
your eyes
wait.
and
There's
take
going to be another
Oh.
character that we got to
Thank
close
you,
our eyes for a little
Brandon.
bit.
All right, all
Oh, we'll
right.
see.
So,
Oh, yes.
all right.
Yes.
So, next question. You got to perform on the Blue's Clues spinoff, Blues Room, as Frederica. What was it like working on that?
Oh, she did the voice. Yes.
Yeah, Freddie. Oh, and the yes. Oh, I sent you that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I have a DVD, a Blues Room
Very
DVD. So.
Yes, I do as well, actually.
I don't.
And silly.
Oh, there,
Steve.
me and Jake have the same one.
Hey,
Pull it up again.
Hey, yo.
Oh, yay!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's it there.
Memorable on this.
Oh, well.
Okay. It was a very interesting casting process because
Yeah.
they just had us come in and kind of improv around, and then they cast the company, but they didn't cast us to character.
Oh,
So they wanted us to all come in and just improv around with the drawings of the characters
Mhm.
and just play around with the voices, and then they would cast from there. I thought it was an interesting casting idea. But everybody had such different schedules that when I went in, it was a big long table of people, and it was just me and Peter Linz.
oh, wow.
We've actually had one of the people who was on Blues Room, Tyler Bunch, who was dress up chest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We had Tyler Bunch on the show, so
yeah.
Well, they did.
Right.
They did. Yeah, they
One of the
did.
very
I wasn't
first
there. Me
episodes
and
of the
Matt
show.
were.
He took over
Yeah.
the role. He took over the role from
yeah.
from Tim Lagasse.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he was cast in a different process, but I thought this was kind of interesting. So here we are with all these little voices, and so I said, "Oh, Frederica, I know a little girl named Frederica. She's in France." And she was an actual little girl whose name was Frederica, who I knew. She was about 4 years old. A friend of mine who I know, she lives in France. Her father is French and her mother is American. And I like to make fun of her voice because when she speaks English, it's little French, but not so much because her mother is American, right? So, and another member of the cast said, "Oh, she's Canadian." She sounds Canadian. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that's what I stuck with.
So that's where your Frederica's voice came from.
That's where Frederica from an actual Frederica.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And of course, when she grew up, she's fully grown now, but she grew up a little bit later, and she said, "I didn't sound like that."
Jakey, what were we going to say?
Oh, you did. She used to follow me
gosh.
around and say, "Oh, you should do your hair like that. You look pretty like that." That was,
She's gonna watch.
you find key words for accents, So
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's gonna watch this interview and be really, really mad.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jakey. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to practice my French with her one time, and she's sitting on my knee, and she goes, because she's bilingual, she grew up bilingual, so she said, "You sound funny. Let's speak English."
Yeah.
Jakey, what were you going to say?
I'm kind of wondering, but how did the birthday part of the character come about?
Yeah, how did
Yeah,
that come about?
I've always wondered about
I
that.
didn't know
too.
until later that she was named after Fred Rogers, Mr.
Oh,
Rogers.
wow.
Wow.
What?
Either.
That's crazy.
No, we didn't
Nobody
know that.
knew. Now we're
Wow.
it's
Oh my
insane.
God.
Named after Fred. Yeah, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, of course, is a
Wow.
very influential show. Mr.
Yes.
Rogers
Oh,
is a
yes.
very
That's awesome.
very
Oh,
influential
yes.
show.
And he was
Definitely.
very
Decent person.
influential to the writers of the show. And now they
Yeah.
have Daniel Tiger, which is
Dan Tiger's
Yeah.
Neighborhood.
even closer,
Great
right?
show as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really studied him very, very closely.
Oh, yeah,
And
for
the whole
sure.
concept of children's television from him. So that was a tribute. Her name was a tribute to her. I don't know how the birthday thing came
Probably
up.
written in.
I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
I
from
love birthdays, even though it's not my birthday.
preschool kids who love to pretend it's their birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Frederica the birthday freak.
hey, speaking of that classic line, can we hear that? AKA, I love birthdays in her voice.
Oh my gosh. I
I love birthdays.
Yay!
That's
All
awesome.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Everybody,
that's awesome.
and everybody open their eyes. Fantastic.
we have friends at Blues Room that's going to love that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very cool that Peter and Joey and Tyler, lots of them, know part of that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the
And Leslie
silly
Craig,
Seat
we're definitely-
character, the silly seat character was interesting because again, it was just a little drawing. So, so I did the voice and so they cast me.
Oh,
as
that's awesome.
So I show up on the set and I'm like, and I see Frederica and she's a little puppet like this.
Yeah.
And I say,
Yeah.
I'm looking on the table for
And they're like, where's the
where
seat?
silly seat is, right? Oh, it's over there. I'm like, you mean that piece?
Oh my gosh.
You mean
Yeah.
that giant
Oh, yeah, it's
chair
really
right there?
It's attached to a backpack. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh.
it's a backpack. You want me to put the backpack on with a
Ah.
chair on my head?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's
And then there was a scene
Crazy.
with Frederica sitting in the chair.
In the
Oh,
chair.
that's right.
Mm.
So luckily we did. That's the most memorable of that show for me.
That must have been very
That's awesome.
uncomfortable.
It was
Oh
a
my gosh.
song,
For sure.
a song where she's singing, Silly Seed is singing back, and we do a dance and a twirl around.
That
Oh,
must
no.
have been uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I remember we had Matt Vogel was our
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
that day.
Yeah.
And
How
Oh,
many
man.
Sesame Street performers worked on that show?
he's doing the arms on the chair. He has to come quickly out of the arms so that I can twirl around and then come back into it. And I'm doing both voice to a pre-recorded track, but still.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a little bit of speaking in it as well. too.
Yeah, so you did that live. So that would have been,
Got
the
it in
speaking would have
one
been live.
take.
So
Thank God we got it in one take.
You got
One
that in
take?
Wow.
Wow.
One take.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Jeez.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I guess I just had to,
Yeah.
for one here, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess.
So, do you still keep in touch with any of the performers from Blues Room?
Sure, yeah. From Blues Room.
Yeah.
Like Deacon Patricia Peter. Peter.
Leslie, Peter, Tyler
Everyone.
was on. Yeah, everybody.
There you go.
We do have reunions of Eureka's Castle from time to time too.
Oh,
Oh, that's
wow.
neat.
That's awesome.
Nice. Awesome.
That's cool.
We haven't had a Blues Room reunion.
that would
That'd be
definitely be
cool.
interesting.
That'd be cool.
That would be
Yeah.
cool. Let's
that'd be
make it
awesome.
happen.
There you go. Even get the voice of the person who voiced Blue on Blues Room, who's all grown up now, I'm sure.
Oh,
Right,
that'd be
yeah.
fun. That'd be fun. So
Yeah.
do you have a favorite episode or video from Blues Room?
I feel like your favorite is the
Okay,
Frederica.
Yeah, that's the way it went.
I feel like I know what the favorite is. The Frederica's birthday DVD or whatever that one is.
Oh yeah, the Frederica's
Yeah.
That's what I have on my reel. Yeah, the Frederica.
Fred's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Fred's birthday. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Has it
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. When they brought in
Sprinkles? Is that what you're
the guy who
gonna
played
say?
Joe, the guy who played Joe,
Donovan Patton.
Oh,
John.
Donovan Patton.
Donovan Patton, yes.
Yeah.
Did you know he can do a great Christopher Walken?
No.
No, I did not know that.
No.
We didn't have
Spot
that.
on Christopher
Wow.
Walken. And he did it so often, and we enjoyed it so much that
Oh wow.
that the puppet crew made him a puppet of Christopher Walken.
Wow.
Stick puppet.
That is
That's
awesome.
crazy.
That is amazing.
That's
Yeah.
so
That
much
was
fun.
that was the best part about Blues Clues, Blues Room.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so what was it like playing the role of Frida the Foot on Ubi?
Oh, that's a good question.
Nice. There's the voice.
It was just an opportunity that I couldn't turn down, right? It
Right.
was
Another Nick Jr. show.
it was
Oh,
back to
yep.
Puppetry 101 and having to learn how to send signals to my foot instead of my hand, you know?
Yeah.
And to give my foot monitor training, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so how are you figuring this? I'm like, where are the eyes going to go? Are they on this side or on that side? Or
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
we think we'll have you put the eyes on the bottom of your foot, and then you'll lay down, and then you'll have your foot back that way. And I'm like, okay, so then the monitors are going to be here. All right, so, and I didn't have any way of setting that up for myself so I could really just train my foot. So I asked if I could come in, at least an hour earlier, and they could have the set ready for me to just practice. So Josh Selig, accommodated me on that, and I really appreciated it, and he was glad that he did give me that time because he could see that I needed it. Yeah, and then my favorite on that was when they expanded it to playing dress up. And so, and Noel, again, played my co-star. He played another character, another foot, the brother, I think, of this character, Frida. And then we said, well, we're gonna play dress up, and we popped back up with shoes on. Shoes, 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 shoes. Oh. Yeah. So that was fun.
That's awesome.
When I went to visit Josh at Little Airplane Studios, there's this stairway that you go up, and they had one of the framed pictures on the wall. They had framed pictures from all the productions, and one of them was Frida with the ball. So appreciated that. But isn't that a great show, Ubi?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, very, very, very good.
Did you know how that got started?
Fuck me.
No.
No.
That was Josh Selig, one of the writers from Sesame Street and lots of children's television. He visited.
He also created Wonder. He also created
Yeah,
Wonder
he
Pets,
did
too.
Wonder Pets.
Yeah.
Right.
Your Pets.
Yes,
Great
very
show.
awesome. Another very good show.
Yeah, I did some voices on that.
Oh, you did?
Oh, wow.
Nice.
You did?
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
I saw a script. They had Little Airplane had their opening party, and I saw a script that was let's go to the Kalamazoo, and I was like, I'm from Kalamazoo. I have to
Wow.
Wow.
What are the odds of that?
I have to be on this episode. So and he did find a place for me. I was on the chorus of cows in the soundtrack.
Yeah, great show. But, yeah. I can tell you have amazing time doing that episode.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Sure.
Ubi came about because Josh Selig went to a puppetry workshop where people were just learning how to puppeteer, and this is Puppetry 101 with the eyes. That's Puppetry 101. You just learn your eye focus this way. It's just Puppetry 101, and he was inspired.
Wow, that's
awesome.
It became a series.
He saw potential in that, and I just think of it as just really purist puppetry, thought it was great. And I love Tyler's take on the Grandpoo.
Oh yeah, you guys
Yeah.
met him.
Love Grandpoo.
Yeah.
oh my gosh, awesome. So I'm kind of wondering, you're actually a part of Follow That Bird. What was that
Yeah,
like?
you were.
Yeah, where are you getting all these listings?
That's what I want to know.
Follow That Bird. I was working at the workshop during that time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it? Hold on. Actually, it's not. I
I
don't know
was,
where it was.
you know
At.
what? I was, yeah, because we were shooting at the Met, and I was starting to get more of the commercials that I talked about, and so I was getting called off to auditions and bookings, and trying to fit it into my workday. And so I asked to not be on the set. I could have worked more of as a wrangler on set, but then I would have had that freedom to pull away. So I asked if I could stay in the workshop. Follow that burden.
I know where he got it from. It's on IMDb.
Of course, it's on IMDb. Of course
IMDb
it
gets
is.
stuff
Of
wrong all the
course.
time.
It's so hard to correct that.
I know.
Ain't that the truth?
I mean, there's stuff that I would like to have added onto that's missing, and stuff that I'd like to remove.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff like, wait, I didn't work on that.
I think it even lists
yeah.
as a cinematographer when I mean all I did was help out a friend with camera work on an independent film that she was making, and now I get listed as a camera person because her film got some notice.
Yeah, it does. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
IMDb, we got you covered. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And it's great. It's funny that like in the past, we need to be a past like a previous guest or something that we mentioned about someone that we worked on that show, and then a guest was like, "I didn't work on that show."
On that.
Yeah. Tim Cronauer was one of those.
Didn't work on it at all, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's happened a couple times. I don't know how many times now.
Now,
we confirmed to you.
Now, I ask, is this correct? Yeah.
Now, I believe this is correct. You also worked on the Singing Hoot and Howl video. Is that correct?
Yes,
Sesame Street. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the inserts on Sesame Street. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
Amazing video. Watch that earlier.
The Honker Ducky Ding Jamboree.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is a tape on that.
Great song.
It came with the 40th anniversary. There's a little DVD that comes with the 40th anniversary book.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I know. I think I have that somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I have it somewhere.
I know.
Yep, that's the one.
Oh wow!
Yep, I have that.
Nice.
Awesome.
There's a little DVD.
I haven't seen that in forever.
So, do you have any funny or interesting behind the scenes stories from your career as a puppeteer?
Sure.
You don't have to tell them if you don't want to.
Okay. Any behind the scenes stories? We I think I have a picture somewhere of this. Anybody who, because puppeteers work above our heads, we all have to be about the same.
Yeah.
So any of us little shorties, we have to wear shoes, right? So I have these little Corky's shoes, and some people have these big boots made. And one day I came into the set, and Noel had strapped a couple of apple boxes to his feet.
Oh my gosh!
While he was clumping around in the apple boxes, just as a little goof to me. Let's see what else can I have.
There's probably other stories.
There probably is stories.
Probably.
Anyway.
I think I've told you a few asides.
Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
A few.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about your work in the past, and we also brought up Miss Cherry's library earlier. I do want. I know I'm kind of going off topic with this question, but you brought up to me that Miss Cherry's library was actually a pandemic project, right?
Yeah.
Right. How'd that get started?
It was because I had some teachers that I had worked with before, and they asked me if I could visit their Zoom class and read a story to their kids. It's usually first or second graders. And I was trying to figure out how I could hold a puppet and read the book and show the illustrations and just do the whole thing spontaneously. And then I just said, how about if I just make you some videos? Make you a video of a story. So that's how it got started, so that I could just record it and send it over. And then I could just, if she still wanted me to visit her class, then I could, show them the story and then talk about the story.
There you go.
Just me, or just me and Miss Cherry, but not trying to read the book at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I just thought, okay, I'd like to go with this. So then I asked Kip. I asked an artist that we had worked with all the way back to. He works on Sesame Street now. Oh my God, why am I blanking his name? Kip. Go
figure it out.
He created the Miss Cherry's logo.
Oh wow! Nice.
Oh, wow.
And so I said I wanted a tree with some books in it, and then the title of the show. So that's the title card of the show.
Yeah.
Kip Rath?
Yeah, Kip Rathke.
Rathke, yes. Jeez, thank you. Kip Rathke.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I saw that first, but I'm like,
So Kip Rathke, yes, he created this wonderful stuff. Yeah, it's really great graphics. He's still at Sesame Street.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he started at 3 Design Studio doing Eureka's Castle.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I think he might have been the one who created the phone. It's either him or Jim Krupa.
Wow.
Nice.
That's
Wow.
a crystal
That's
ball.
awesome.
That's a genuine crystal ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the wizard to call.
I kind of don't need to ask the next question.
Light up.
I kind of don't need to ask the next question because it's been answered. Chris, you take the next one.
Okay. So as a puppeteer, what challenges would you say you faced during your career?
Like any puppeteer, getting work.
Mm.
And also, I think just getting enough opportunity to grow in an organic way,
Mhm.
without, to get enough experience so that you can play with the big boys, and to just really, grow it and expand and at a pace. And I think a lot of artists, come up with that, if you're too young and you get famous and then it throws your head for a spin and you do all kinds of crazy stuff and ruin your career, and it's a challenge to have enough of your own common sense and a good team around you and good friends, and just choose good company so that you can have the support that you need to explore the things that you need to explore so that you can grow into the artist that you want to be.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. So, real quick, one show that I think we forgot to bring up. It's definitely one of my all-time favorite puppetry projects. In addition to Sesame Street and like Bear and stuff like that, which I mentioned. One of my favorite puppetry projects, which I think you did some work on, is the show Between the Lions.
Yes.
Between the Lions. What was it like working on that show?
I love Between the Lines. I have all those tapes that I managed to get.
Oh, wow.
I think I recorded them off the air or I bought them. I still have to go through my tape archives. There's like boxes and boxes.
Wow. Yeah.
So really another really beautifully conceived show, and I was really thrilled to I actually did go and help out with 3 Design Studio. I built some of the costumes.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I auditioned for it, and I'm kind of glad that I did not. After I saw the Cleo puppet, because I kind of thought Kathy would be doing Leona, but the Cleo puppet was so heavy that I thought if I got cast, I wouldn't have been able to sustain it. She was even heavier than Eureka.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And when I saw Jen work with her, I was just like, genius. And she's an Amazon with that puppet. And I was building her costumes that were heavier and heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
So it really just expanded my admiration for Jen Barnhart. She did
Yes.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
And for
She's now Zoe.
yeah, she's now Zoe on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
Definitely. And for those tuning in who don't know this, Jim Krupa actually did a lot of work on the Between the Lines puppets as well.
that's right.
Yep.
Definitely.
The Between the Lines puppets were built by 3 Design Studio, which is Jim Krupa.
Just Jim Krupa's. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Jim Krupa and Matthew Stoddard, rest his soul. He's gone now.
Aw.
John
Definitely.
Senior.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, John and Janet.
Let's go.
And
Yeah.
I want to ask about this on the topic of costumes. You worked on the Muppets 2011 costumes.
Muppets 2011.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the movie that came out.
Oh,
in
did they
theaters.
credit me in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they credited you.
Ollie called me and asked me if I could do some stuff, and I was like, "Oh, that might be fun. Maybe I could come in on Fridays, like 1 day a week for a few weeks." And I think I made some ninja costumes, some karate costumes for Fozzie and Gonzo
Nice.
and Pepe.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun. I hadn't seen the old gang in a long time, and it was over in the new studio over in Long Island City. So it was great.
Nice.
Nice, awesome.
Nice. So Jake, why don't you take
I
this?
got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what piece of advice would you give to anyone who wants to get into puppeteering?
Make some puppets
Yeah.
and
Yeah, definitely.
set up your phone and practice.
There you go.
Yeah. Because
Do puppet shows for your family and friends.
Yep.
Do live puppetry and see as much as you can of making of stuff, behind the scenes
Mhm.
stuff for puppetry, because that's really how you learn it, when you see what goes on under the camera.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
Wonder-
I think, and then also mime and dance and voice production. Improvisation is very important.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
If you have really great improv skills, you could even start there, because all of that talent of creating, if you're doing Muppet type puppets, if you're doing marionettes, if you're doing other kinds of theatrical puppets that don't really require the kind of character and improvisation that Muppets do, then I wouldn't make it that important. But those are skills that you want to hone.
yeah.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned like making your own puppets, I didn't like build him completely, but my puppet, his name's Puppet Chris, kind of a basic name. I assembled him from a Muppet Whatnot kit that they used to sell a long time ago.
Oh,
And-
yes, at
Toys R Us.
Toys R
FAO
Us.
Sport.
Toys R Us.
FAO Shorts and
Oh,
Toys R Us,
Schwartz.
yeah.
It was FAO Schwartz had them. I remember when they opened
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of daring. And the Muppet Studio was kind of overlooking it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I know what Matt's
anymore?
doing. Never mind.
Well,
Yeah,
Say that again, Cheryl.
Are they available anymore?
I don't know.
No, I don't even know. Is FAO Shorts even still open?
I don't know.
I don't think
I don't
so.
think
Schwartz
so.
is not around, but
Yeah.
the Muppet Whatnots.
No, unfortunately, I don't think you can get them anywhere. I mean,
No.
they have them on like eBay and stuff, but they're, oh my gosh,
They're
incredibly
expensive.
expensive now.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
they go for a lot
would
of
go into
money.
the store and they would build it there in the store, and then you buy it with all the stuff, or is it a kit?
Yeah,
It was a kit.
and FAO Schwartz, I think you could actually go in and get it built. But at Toys R Us, they had their like own FAO Schwartz kind of section in there, and they had the kits, which is where he was assembled from.
Oh wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got my puppet, which is
I have
which is named
Norman over here.
Bean, and I got him from the puppet from the community not community the company that's called Slay Puppets. That's from Amazon.
Mine was made. My original one was made by them, and Folk Manus was who made my chicken puppet.
Yeah.
Julius, you want to come and say hello?
Yeah, Julius, come
All right.
on! I've been waiting.
There's
for
Julie.
this.
There's
There
Julie.
he is.
That's other friend.
Hey.
Oh, hi.
Hi there.
Hello, Julius.
Hi.
So do you guys do
Hi.
shows together? Have you created some stuff together?
Yeah,
Yes, we have.
Matt does Instagram live streams with
Instagram
Marty and
live
Julie.
show. We've done a couple
Stop
short
and go
films.
live.
We've done a couple. We've done a
On
couple
Instagram.
short films over the years. I think as of the time this airs, we would have just released one. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. I was built by Avery Jones, who most of you know as what is his Instagram? Inside My Brain Comedy. Yes, that's the one. Very talented puppeteer and builder. I was built by him.
Okay.
And Marty
Yeah,
was.
I guess, I mean, just puppetry 101 is just, eye focus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And going through and just really getting that eye focus, and also making sure that your puppet has a good range of eye focus. Some of them, it's really the range is very small where they really look like they're in focus, and then a flatter face, of course, like this, he's always in focus, no matter what he's looking.
Yeah.
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 Little ones, it's like there's just that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Looking away, looking away. So just do a lot of silent work.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Exploring around and walks and falls and pratfalls and double take.
Right. There you go.
All of the mechanics of puppetry. There was something I remember that Frank used to do a lot, Frank Oz, and he would look behind him, and it was just something that I was just like, oh my God, because I was working basically a plane, and he was working with the room around him, and he used it as a a double take gesture, but it was like I remember it was and I was looking at him from the side working, and he really did use the space behind him and then before. And
there you go.
Like just really study the greats.
There you go.
Their choices. Make good choices.
Definitely.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
So Julius, since you're here, why don't you ask the next question?
And I think since Matthew's not here, Julius, you can ask the next one as well if you want, or I'll let Marty ask it.
Wait, which one? We still got like 3 left.
The one after the question you're about to ask.
Okay. So firstly, what would you like to say to your fans and supporters of your work?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
What would you like to say to your fans and supporters of your work?
My fans? I have fans.
Reaction. Yeah. It's fine.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You're very welcome.
Next part.
Thank
And
you for knowing I exist. Come on.
And people and people would like to find you or your work. Where can people find you?
I am working on getting I started a website, I never finished it. I do have some stuff on my YouTube page.
Nice.
And there's my puppetry reel is on there, and some of the and I have to just do a better job of being consistent about how to upload stuff, and get better with the technical side of it.
Yeah.
So and there was some kind of errant YouTube page that when they went to Yahoo or something, it got lost, and then I found it, and I'm like, I want to erase this thing, and you can't erase it. I mean, it had a bunch of videos that I did for my niece and nephew, and I was like, I don't want that on there anymore, you know. So this the new one is, I think, the one that you go to when you do Google my name in YouTube. So there's just
There you go.
there's just a bunch of little pieces in there. But I haven't put all of them in. I just haven't gotten stuff transferred and edited, and so I will update some more on that. So there is YouTube, and soon there will be a website, but I'm not sure how soon that's going to be.
You folks can also find Miss Cherry's Library on there as well.
And Miss Cherry's Library is on Facebook.
Yeah, I was about to say, and on Facebook as well at Miss Cherry's Library. That's right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And Instagram, you can find it.
Instagram too.
So is there anything else you're working on currently that you can share?
Or is that it?
Not that I can share.
There you go.
I can share right now. Things are
Stuff to come in the future. We'll say that.
That's it.
Good stuff to come in the future.
I'll take it out this time.
Yeah.
Of course, this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or how would you define the word nostalgia?
Nostalgia. Oh, like rainbows and fairies. And that's how I think of nostalgia.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
I guess that would do.
There you go. Thank you so much, Cheryl. It's been an absolute honor.
Wonderful.
Yes, sure.
We're definitely.
It's a lot of fun getting to know you too.
If you're up for
it was
it,
amazing.
Here's the thing: if you're up for it, maybe we can have you back on in the future. Maybe we get Tyler Bunch back,
Or Noel, or any of the.
Somebody.
A reunion.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely. Make the Blues Room reunion happen.
Yes,
we can make that happen. We could.
Yes.
We can make it happen.
To all of our people, we enjoyed our time with Cheryl today.
Yes, we
Hey,
have.
Eureka, do you have any last words?
Are we going to close our eyes again?
You know what? I'll just look that way. You can't see.
Yes, you have to close your eyes again.
Last time, ladies and gents.
Last time. Close your eyes one more time.
Bye bye now.
There we go.
That's awesome.
Guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for being on, and thank you for being part of our childhood. And keep up your great work, and see what's next for you.
Yeah. And we definitely enjoyed our time
welcome.
with Cheryl today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, rate, comment, subscribe, and you are worth it. Goodbye, everybody.
And stay nostalgic. Bye bye, everybody.
Everybody, take care. Bye.
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 See you next time on another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Be sure to follow us on social media and stream us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember that you are worth it and to always stay nostalgic. Bye bye.